of had a mentor-mentee relationship that really turned out to be more of a, as I think they do often, mutually beneficial and very valuable for me as well as him, I hope. And out of that came some of this CodeGenius product that we're going to look at today. And I think with that, Lautaro, I think your first slide really has all about you. So you didn't mention any of your music talent or skills or interest in there. So maybe touch on that a little bit. But otherwise, I'll hand it over to Lautaro and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Anthony, thank you so much for the presentation and for hosting this talk. Thanks as well the C2I community and Thea for organizing. As always, this is a great community for developers. I encourage you, if you are not already part of the community, please join this community because it's amazing. They care about developer health, and that's really important for us. And it's a vibrant community. So yeah, with that being said, let me start the presentation. So let me share these slides I have prepared for you today. So a little bit about myself. I'm Lautaro. I'm from Argentina originally, but I currently live in Mexico. Thanks for dedicating some of your time today. I'm a developer focused on user-friendly experiences and a very proud member of the C2I community. And today I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence in the development workflow. At the end of the presentation, I'm going to show a quick live demo. And after that, we are going to have a short Q&A to share more and open the conversation. I remember feeling like this in the past. Let me tell you a quick story. It was a difficult client throwing a lot of pressure into the organization and the dev team. Long story short, I could make it happen, but I needed to work until 5 a.m. that night. Honestly, I don't want this to happen again to me. I love my job, but I love my personal life too. Well, let me tell you, the good news is that you don't have to go through this anymore. AI is here to help us. Sorry about that. AI is not something new. It started back in the days, in 1915, with a paper writing by Alan Turing. But today, the implementation of AI at the massive scale is possible because of the existing computational power. Let's explore how companies are using AI these days, and let's start with the cybersecurity topic. AI can watch for unusual ways users try to get data and tell the security team if something suspicious is going on. It can also analyze information in real time and identify patterns coming from bad actors. This helps preventing and avoiding cyber attacks. Now, let's explore how we can use AI to help with testing. Writing tests is a time-consuming and a boring task for most of us. AI can certainly help with automation when it comes to writing tests. Prompt engineering is one of the techniques that can be used to achieve testing automation. Now, let's take a quick look at improving code performance, something that developers, we are really passionate about this topic, right? Performance improvements. Let's see a quick video. Let's pause for a second and see a quick video. In the following video, we can observe how the AI system is being asked for help regarding performance. We can see how the AI robot replied with very insightful tips and explanations. This is important because AI not only tells us the answer, but also tells us the why. Let's take a look to another example. Consider the following car component. This is a React.js code. When asking the AI how this can be improved, we got the following result. As we can see in the explanation, the tip that the AI model gives is simple but powerful. It goes to the point. Bugs, something we hate. Really, we hate. Developers, we don't like bugs. So let's talk about how we can improve the dev workflow with AI. Sometimes bugs makes the developer lives more complicated than they should. Machine learning models can be trained on historical bug data to predict where future bugs are likely to occur in code. This allows developers to focus their testing and debugging efforts on high-risk areas. What about automating code reviews? On average, code reviews might take anywhere from 30 minutes to a few hours for a single pull request. The review process could take longer for larger and more complex changes. An organization making 3 PRs per day can save between 150 and 200 hours of the developer's time per month. The good news is that today, code reviews can be automated with the help of AI. What if we can have an assistant writing documentation for us? We know that good documentation is key in software development projects. Great documentation could take several days to several weeks to complete. It is important to note that documentation is not a one-time task. It often requires updates and maintenance as the project evolves. Imagine how many hours can be saved when it comes to docs automation with AI. Have you considered learning something new lately? AI-driven platforms can provide instant feedback on coding exercise, helping developers improve their coding skills through practice. Think of AI as your personal mentor when it comes to learning something new. A mentor who knows you very well and recommends actions to take based on your performance and learning paths. Today, I also wanted to share my creation, Code Genius. Let's see how this tool can help us taking our jobs to the next level. Our mission is to help developers to achieve their daily tasks faster. Depending on what challenge you have at hand, we offer few different options for common scenarios. Let's take a look to our main features. Add performance boost to the code. Create unit tests on the fly. Create great documentation with the click of a button. And last but not least, if you need some pair programming, no problem, we got you covered. You can chat with our AI agent 24/7. And now, Anthony, if you allow me, let's do some live coding. I mean, this will be a short live demo to see how we can use, for example, a tool that uses AI and help with our development workflow, right? Let's imagine I have a repository here, right? It is using React and Jest. It also has the React testing library installed. And imagine that we have this hero component right here. Of course, because our good development practice, we need to send not only the code component, but also the testing that component, right? Similarly, as we have for button, card, checkbox, or dropdown, now we need a test for hero component, right? So the flow will be this. Let's copy the code and let's go to generate test. In this screen, we can paste the code we just copied and choose the tools of our preference. In this case, it will be Jest as the testing runner and React testing library as the testing library, right? Then click generate. As you can see, the AI system is instantly giving us a piece of code for the test part of the component with some explanations, as we saw earlier. Let's copy that. Let's go back to our editor. And let's create a new a new file for the test, right? Let's call this hero.test.js. Let's paste the solution Continuous is giving us, and let's execute the testing. As you can see, it passed. In 2 seconds, we have a test that is testing all the parts of this newly component we added to the repository, right? This is a simple example, but we can configure the system to give you more tests and to test more scenarios, right? This is just a simple test. So with that, I wanted to show you another part of Code Genius. For example, we have an screen similarly as ChatGPT, right? Where you have a predefined prompts, especially bet for developers who love to learn more, right? And we can start the conversation, for example, with Create React App, right? These are just conversation starters. You can input wherever you like. If you have an issue with your code at hand, you can input your code and ask for solutions. As you can see, again, the system is giving us some explanations with some code examples, right? For example, let's do another example. Imagine that I need an input component for React. And the system instantly replies with the code we asked it for. What if we don't like, actually, because we are engineers and we know what we want, right? But we just need some pair programming, some help sometimes. Imagine, like, I can see, for example, that the solution here is passing the value coming from the React state and handle change coming as an arrow function in the component. But the type is already hard code, and we want this value to be dynamic, right? It can be a type password, a type numeric, or test. We want this to be coming from props. So we can ask that for. So now, as you can see, the type is coming from the props, right? This is amazing because we can give feedback to the system, and the system will react to that. This is very powerful on AI these days. It understands really well natural language, and it can be really helpful when it comes to coding. Imagine that now we have our input component, and we need a test for that. We can do similar actions as we did recently. By the way, you have all these options to choose what testing tool we like to use, and then click Generate. And as you can see, we have now a new component just in a few seconds, and a new test with 3 test cases for that input component. So yeah, please let me know if you have feedback. You are welcome to use Code Genius I'll send a discount code for the community and for the participants of this event. Similarly, as the chat or the testing mode, we have the optimization mode that you can use to input some code and get feedback about how you can improve performance. We have the documentation mode. Similarly, you can input code and choose what is your style, if inline docs on MDX docs. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all. Now I continue the presentation here. I think we can do some Q&A, Anthony.
All right, that was exciting. It's pretty cool. I guess we can have some questions. If there are any questions coming in on the chat, I'll pull those up. Otherwise, I'm happy to start driving the conversation. How long did it take you to build Code Genius? How long have you been working on this?
Yeah, it's a great question. It was roughly 2 months or 2 to 3 months until we put all the pieces together. I didn't build this alone. I mean, I took care about the technical part, but Carolina, my partner, was the designer for UI designer for this web app, which is amazing. I love the palette color she chose, the dark mode by default. She put really attention to details here, right?
Yeah, it shows. That's great. And then, so are you hoping to move this product more into a commercial space, or is this for the G2I community? You built this just for us?
That's a great question, Anthony. Yeah, we are analyzing a possible roadmap for the following 2 years. We want to continue improving the product, potentially moving that to the commercial space. For now, it's like an experiment, and we are getting feedback from developers. We really care about developers. DX these days are really popular, right? Development experience. If you remember, in one of my first slides, I just show you. Sometimes we have deadlines, of course, because the business is business, right? And then we need to get some results. But yeah, sometimes things go through in the middle and stop you to get those goals and make your life harder, right? So we just want to improve our life with this product.
Fair enough. Yeah. So there's a question in the chat from Gabe, hoping you could maybe demonstrate the documentation portion.
Yeah, we can do that, of course. Yeah, let me do that actually. Let's take this component as an example. By the way, guys, you see my screen?
You're gonna need to reshare.
Okay, let me reshare that. Okay, I just went to my editor here and took the same hero component as example that we were looking at. And then similarly as the other modes, we paste the code. We choose what type of style would you like the docs to be generated, right? Let's choose inline docs. This is actually an error because it's an error in the UI, because this is code and it should be marked in as a code, right? But yeah, as we can see, the system is giving us the params that this component is getting, right? Like props that image is a string. Actually, this style is called JS docs, right? So yeah, let's try this. Let's try the optimization. Oh, but yeah, that was yeah, the actually the docs mode should be improved, and this is fantastic about this product, because we try to we try to deploy fast in order to find possible improvements, right? And this is great about these days. I mean, in today's time, we as we saw, like we can deploy these models faster, right? We can make products with AI really fast, more than ever, right? So yeah, this is great. So actually, it's my first product, Code Genius, so I'm learning a lot, and yeah, I'm super eager to get feedback. If you can use it and give me feedback, that will be the best prize for me, right?
Of course. That sounds great. Thank you. Any
No
other questions?
problem.
All right. So what's next? How can the community help you other than just feedback? Are you open sourcing this, or is just feedback's what you're looking for now?
Yeah, that's also a great question, Anthony. I was thinking into move this to the open source space, because I really believe in open source. I just need to find a way to wrote some guidelines on how people can collaborate. Even to be honest, I'm not super interested in the pricing part. I was thinking in the pricing model. Some of these products use credits as a model, and some of these products use a subscription-based model, right? My goal is for this product to be used as much as possible, right? Because we really want to help developers, but this is not the only product is out in the market, of course. But I could see it, this year some friction from the developer to use AI products in their daily workflow, right? I just wanted to mention that it's important for us to have some help like this, right? Because these are neuronal networks trained on a lot of lines of code, right? Honestly, it can be smarter than us, right? But we are still in charge. We're still in charge. That's an important thing on this topic, right? We still decide the direction of the product, the direction of the technical direction, etc., right? But we have a helper, like a very smart helper that can assist you 24/7, right? So why you don't want to use it?
Exactly. Well, speaking of that, actually, there's a question from Rabi Al-Zahar that says, how is Code Genius different from just asking Chat GPT?
That's a great question. Well, as you can see, these models are being trained, especially it can be fine-tuned, right? Or it can use a specific set of data for your topic at hand, right? So Code Genius we was prepared for engineering, especially bed for engineering. So it's similarly as ChatGPT, but focus on the developer. So as you can see, we put in the UI. Let me share again. So we crafted the UI especially for the developer use cases, right? Still, it is using OpenAI API under the hood, but we put some use cases that we encounter every day, right? Like testing. So it facilitates your conversation with the AI model, right? We wanted to facilitate the conversation with the AI model for developers in this case, right? So a lot of prompt engineering, a lot of system messages, a lot of in-context learning, various techniques that we are using to help the developer. It's not just a common agent, right? It's a specialized agent for the developer, right? And a friendly agent, of course. For example, in testing, you can choose all these tools. We have like a smart suggestion area that I didn't show you before, where you can start something from idea, right? You can write, for example, I want to create a chat system, right? And choose your language. By the way, we are adding more language to these drop-downs, and choose the library. It can serve as a starting point of a new project, right? So, but sorry for extending. I don't know if that answered the question.
Sounds good to me. So what are some, this is from Eddie, what are some successful patterns in architecting or building a software project that's AI empowered? You know, what kind of challenges did you face, and what patterns have you found to be successful?
Great question, Eddie. What I suggest is that you use an SDK. For example, I recommend the Vercel SDK. It is called AI. So you can do npm install AI, and you will have a variety of tools to use in your project, right? Even if your project is server side or front end wise, you can use this package. And this package has a series of tools and helpers that will help you build fast and confident any UI for AI related works. So my recommendation number one is use a package like npm AI. Like you can choose from different models, and not only OpenAI. As we know, there are open source models from Facebook, Hugging Face, a lot of things going on the AI space. So architecture wise, choose an SDK. Have the code organized as you used to. So well organization is key.
Fair enough. All right, we're at time, but we've got just a few more questions here, so let's see if we can get these done. I'll switch to Rafael. Has a question that says, what are the first things a dev should do to slowly get introduced to AI?
That's a great question, Rafael. What I'm going to recommend is go to some playground and start playing with AI. Just choose different models, choose different prompts. That's the first things I will do as an engineer or developer. Then think on your idea, right? Think on what do you want to build and how, and then start building.
Perfect. And then Gabe had a follow-up question comparing CodeGenius to Copilot. What are the benefits to using one or the other, especially with Copilot's chat that's coming out?
Well, yeah, Gabe, thanks for the question. I think Copilot is a great tool. Is coming from GitHub, a company we love. I really love GitHub. I'm going to the Universe conference in November in San Francisco. They have great engineers, but the difference is this. They have been working on Copilot back in the days, I think 1 year ago or 1 year and a half ago, they started to build the first model. They have an interception model. They use Codex, which is a primitive model from OpenAI, and they put some sugar in the middle, right? So they analyze, of course, they ask Codex or OpenAI for recommendations, but they have like a database in the middle where they choose how to reply the developer or not, because they don't want to be also intrusive, right? Yeah, that's the difference. They put like a subset model and a lot of work between the codex and their model. That's the difference, and also one major difference between Cogenius and Copilot is that Copilot is already integrated in VS Code. Cogenius is a web app, right? And as I saw the latest year, there is a trend on moving the development to the cloud, right? We saw this even with GitHub and other tools like Copen or many tools that are migrating to the cloud, right? So I think we are in a hybrid moment, right? Where we are still using VS Code or any IDE in our machines, but in few years we are going to have everything in the cloud. So I think Continuous is something in the middle, something that helps with the migration.
Perfect. And then this last question is a bit more theoretical, but Richard was wondering if people start using AI as their primary tool, is it going to sort of, it's a feedback loop, right? So if I'm using AI for my current tool and I train code and I write that code, when you're training AI in the future, isn't it going to just be sort of consuming its own code and getting stagnant in that way?
Oh, that's a difficult question. How can you rephrase that, Anthony? Like,
I'm happy to address it as well. I mean, but
yeah, please.
Ultimately, with any generative solution, right, it's being trained on data that's out there. And right now, in theory, these first sets of AI generative solutions, they're looking at code that's written by humans, because that's the only thing that could write code in the past. However, as more and more AI or more code is written by AI tools in the future, it's going to be self-consuming the code that it wrote. And the question becomes, can the code still get better in that way? And it's an interesting question. It's funny because if you take the visual version of this and you look at tools like Midjourney or any of those solutions, right? In theory, they're only trained on the art that has been made before, but they're still able to generate new and exciting things that are rooted perhaps in what it's learned, but significantly different. And in any diffusion-based model, which all of those are, is able to do that by starting with something and diffusing outwards. And code generation with LLMs and text generation in general work on models that are disparate from that. However, the same still applies. There's nothing to say, well, actually, you could do it. You could think of it. You read children's books, probably, I hope, when you were a child. You learn to write in similar ways, but you're still able to produce things that you're not only the sum of the things you've consumed, right? We can generalize, and AI actually, these models, these generative models at least, have the ability to also create new things, net new, never before, etc. So I imagine, I could see how one would think that it would go stagnant, but it's pretty exciting seeing where these things can go, and we're not there yet, right? So we don't even know fully in the industry where these things are going to end up. It's changing daily. If you look at like the model, like when ChatGPT came out, it was amazing, and then 3.5 and 4, and they're not. I mean, there's hundreds of billions of parameters in these models at this point. Not in
Yeah.
any one, but it's really impressive to see how fast this stuff's changing, and it's going to continue to lead to truly being generative instead of just derivative.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
take.
I agree. I agree with that, Anthony. And let me add on top of that that it was very interesting question. I think it will come better and better and better, and there is a big responsibility from for us humans, right? We need to make it better. We need to teach, like, we need to teach the models how to improve themselves, but with examples, because as you know, many of these models can be fine-tuned. Yes, of course, as we know, the AI sometimes make it wrong. And we know that, right? We saw many examples of ChatGPT, etc., etc., etc. But the important thing is the niche right now, right? We are in the development niche, so we want to make these models even better, even smarter. So if and because they repeat themselves, because they are machines, they are robots, we can predict and we can adjust, right? So if we saw many wrong answers, well, it's our responsibility to train the model to be a better model. So, but yeah, that's a very interesting question. I don't know how uh, there will be one point where AI will be super super smart. The AI itself will teach about their mistakes, right? What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, it's funny. We're finding plateaus of that already, right? Like, I think was it in? I forget who released the paper. I think it was Meta actually, where they found that a model trained on fewer than, I'm making up the number. It's been a few weeks since I read it, but fewer than 100 million parameters, let's say, can't learn to do AI, but anything over that has learned to do AI level integration with other SDKs and such automatically. So if you just give them the documentation to some SDK that you want to learn, train on that context, they're able to actually generate working code and solutions from that above a certain level. So I tend to think of that as plateaus. Maybe we're not where we need to get to where LLMs can fully generate new and exciting text, but at least we're heading in that direction, and at some point we'll get there. So I don't think that AI is limited by the data set that it's trained on, and that's key, right? So even if AI is generating code and it's only learning from its own code, doesn't mean it's limited to that. So it's tricky. We'll find out. I mean, only time will really tell, but that's still on that sort of theoretical. Like, people way smarter than me would need to really respond to that question to get it out for you. But anyway, we should probably close up. So this has been a fun topic. Awesome. Thanks for showing Code Genius. You did a great job. Appreciate the community for the questions, and of course, Thea, for all that you do. So thank you very much, and we will see you next time. I don't know how to end the call though, so Thea, you're up.
Thank you so much, Anthony, Thea, Gabe, the C2I community, and all the developers that we love. Bye.